Don't hang up that phone. Don't hang up that phone. We've found what you're looking for. Welcome to the Let's Talk Cabling Podcast with Chuck Bowser, RCDD. Well, seeing how we're pulling Category 6A, the most powerful twisted pair in the world, you gotta ask yourself this one question. Did I pull 295 or 300 feet? Well, do you feel lucky? Do you, punk? What exactly does RCDD stand for? Registered Communications Distribution Designer. Just the expert you need to ensure your cable plant performs exactly as designed. The elite professional, knowledgeable, and experienced in leading-edge ICT design principles. Now, send the new guy to the truck for a bucket of dial tone and the cable stretchers, while you listen to an informative program on telecommunications.
Salutations, everybody. It's Thursday night, 6 p.m. I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something. What is it I'm doing on Thursday nights at 6 p.m.? Oh, yeah, After Hours Live. Ask Chuck Bowser, RCD, your favorite questions. That's right. I totally forgot about that. No, I didn't forget about that. I'm here, right? So, how is everybody doing tonight? Huh? So, yeah, I already got my first comment there. Oh, yeah, I like that too. I've modified it a couple times, but I appreciate that. So, how's everybody doing tonight? As you know, it's Thursday night, 6 p.m. I will want to say this. This is the last Thursday night, 6 p.m. of 2021. Not forever, just 2021. Because in December, I've got a ton of vacation, so I'm going to be really busy doing catch-up work on the farm. I'm going to be trying to get some stuff finished for the podcast, stuff like that. So there won't be no Thursday night live streams until January. So this is the last one for the year. And before I forget, happy Thanksgiving for next week. I hope that you have plenty to be thankful for, and I know I am. I'm blessed with a beautiful wife and a great job and a hobby that just helps impact, encourage, enrich the lives of others. So I'm fortunate. I'm a really fortunate individual. So with that being said, what do we always start off every Thursday night after hour stream with? What are you drinking? What are you drinking? So I actually have two drinks with me here tonight. One is my leftover drink from my class today, because I was teaching a class today. So this is a leftover Zevia ginger ale. So that's what I'm drinking right now. My second drink, I'm just waiting for it to finish. You know, I don't drink coffee, so it's got to be tea. Inland Gray tea with a little bit of peppermint from our property and some cranberry hibiscus from our property. And I made it the right way, not with any bags. But see, I don't like my drinks that hot, so I may not actually drink this before we finish the class today. The live stream today. So, what are you drinking? Put it in the chat box. What are you drinking? Right? Everybody's got to be drinking something. That's what we're here for. Steve's in the house. Steve says he's drinking water. Welcome back, Mr. Steve. And Stryker says he's also drinking water. Jonathan Jew's in the house. Hey, Jonathan. How you doing, buddy? I'm looking forward to tomorrow. So, what all's in the schedule? First, I want to talk about, did you catch last Monday's episode? Right? Last Monday's episode was pretty, I loved it. The actual show title was Interview with a Bixie Technician. So I interviewed a Bixie technician who gave us some insight on how getting that certification impacted his career. How does it help him excel in his career, make more money? How does other people look at him because he's got that Bixie certification? But here's the kicker. It's my brother. Yeah, it's my brother. Yeah, we were telling stories on each other. Of course, we had to be real careful with which stories we told because there's some stories that just, there's things you do when you're a lot younger that you don't really think about. Thank God the internet and social media was not around back then because we probably would have been in trouble. So that was a really, really good episode. I'm still thrilled about that one. Let's talk about, before we do the questions. Remember, if you have a question, make sure you put the question in the comments section. Right? Where's my thing at? There we go. Submit your questions in the comment section. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes to put in some questions and stuff. Let's talk about upcoming episodes. It's kind of ironic that Steve's in the house tonight because the next episode, he's going to be on it. I did a cable myth busting episode, right? I talked about this last one. I was still in the process of working on it. I'm almost done editing and stuff. So there's a lot of myths on the industry. Is the Cat 6 cable and connectors you buy at the big box store the same as, that you get from a commercial tier 1 manufacturer from like distribution like Graybar or Annixter? We find out. We also find out, is there a difference between T568A and T568B wiring? That's a good one too. We also do how does a straight through affect the cable plant? Because you always hear it doesn't really matter if it's A or B as long as it's straight through. It's going to be good to go. We look at that too. And there's another one too, which I can't think off the top of my head. So there's like 4 myths that we actually terminated, tested. Steve and I get on. We talk about the test results and stuff. Don't want to miss that episode. That's going to come out next Monday. Then behind that one, I've got an interview with a fan favorite, my buddy Tim from TCOM. We get on and start talking about the semiconductor shortage and how it's affecting our industry in the way that several manufacturers have announced that they're building facilities in the U.S. What cabling challenges? That's a great show. I got another one coming up. It's ironic that Jonathan Jew's in here because him and I are going to be. We did an interview, an episode, but Chuck had some problems with the audio issues, and I can't use it, so I had to scrap it. So we're going to re-record it again, and we're going to talk about the new standard that just got published, and we're going to talk about how you participate in standards. We're going to answer questions like, why is rack unit 1 at the bottom? Right? We're going to ask, why is there no Cat 7 in the standards? All kinds of good questions. I got along really good. I really can't wait for that one to come out. And then I got another one behind that. I've gotten a lot of questions recently over the last, 2 weeks or so. I don't know why the influx all of a sudden, but people wanting to know about Bixie's Rtpm certification, Registered Telecommunications Project Manager. Gotten a lot of questions over the last, shortly. And also questions about the class. So I reached out to Bixie and they've agreed to do an interview, and we just got to schedule that and get that. So that was going to be published out too. So we got a lot of great content coming up. So make sure that you don't miss. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the bell button to be notified. If you're listening on podcast, make sure that you give us a rating so when those new episodes come out. So that way you can kind of see that. Mark is in the house. So what's this? Rtpm or RCDD next? So very good. That's actually a great. I'm going to ask that right now. So that really kind of depends on which route you kind of want to take, Todd. I've found that being a project manager was very rewarding, but it's also very hard because you have to rely on others. When I was a lead technician, a project foreman, it was easy. I was directly responsible for my crew, and I was right there with them every day, and I could get them to do what I need them to do, and we because their victory was my victory. When you become a project manager, you're managing sometimes multiple crews, right? And so what that means is you can't. I knew that I could do a certain amount of cable on a job, pull a certain amount of cable a day, turn a certain amount of jacks in a day. I knew what long, but not everybody has the same work ethic. Not everybody works as hard as. Not everybody has the same knowledge as other people. So the project manager is a great role. It's a great stepping role as well. So if you're looking to go that route, then the RTPM is going to be best for you. And the RTPM program, you hear a lot of people go back and forth, which is better, the RTPM or the PMP. If you're going to stay in telecommunications, my recommendation is the RTPM. Because even though they share a lot of content back and forth between those two programs, the RTPM is fine-tuned for this industry. So if you're going to stay in this industry, go with the RTPM. Now, then you say, what about the RCDD? Now, an RCDD is going to help you be a project manager. Don't get me wrong. But an RCDD is also going to open up doors for example, like estimating and design, maybe even sales, being an engineer. So it really kind of depends on what you want, what you like, what goals you really want to have to do. Only you can answer those questions. I can't answer them for you. I'm contemplating on taking the PM 102 class next year. I do have the opportunity to participate in some classes and stuff, and I'm seriously considering that one for next year. And my decision will be made after my interview with Bixie when we do that interview. So that'll going to be really, really good, right? Another question came in. This one is from Mark. What do you feel the RCDD pay range is? It's kind of ironic you asked me that question, Mark. So I'm one for never burning my bridges. I'm still in contact with the first company that I worked for many, many, many years ago. And I get asked this question a lot. But it really kind of depends on a lot of factors, doesn't it? It really depends on, number one, where do you live? Where do you live? An RCDD in Tampa, Florida will not be paid the same as an RCDD in New York City because the cost of living is different. It also depends on the amount of experience. Are you a brand spanking new RCDD? I mean, literally, the ink is still wet on your diploma? Or are you like me, you've been an RCDD for 20, 25 years? Those are two different ranges there. Now, when I got asked this question a while back, I did have somebody ask me about the range. And I just did a quick search on it. And there's a lot of great search tools out there, Indeed and salary.com and a bunch of others. So I went to Indeed and I typed in salary range for an RCDD for the area of the country that this person was asking me for. And listen to this. The salary range was from $40,000 to $160,000. That's a range. Really, that's a range. And honestly, I think no RCDD should make $40,000 a year. I think that's way undervalued. Personally, I think a good starting point for most RCDDs, again, depending on the area of the country, 50, 60,000 on the low end. On the high end, it could be anything. It really depends what you're really getting into, right? So if you got a security clearance and an RCDD, and you can go into some of these places that nobody else can go to, well, you got a specialized skill set along with your RCDD that's going to bump that up. But nationwide, and I remember I looked at this a year ago for one of the episodes. Nationwide, I think the average was 85,000, if I remember right off the top of my head. I have to actually go back and listen to that episode again because I'm going by memory, unfortunately. Going by memory. So pretty cool. Let me see. So he's definitely thinking of the RTPM next. Since that's my current job, the RCD will be later on and be the ultimate goal. Yeah, you can't. That's the beautiful thing. Remember these three words. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. And having multiple certifications, Todd, is going to help you. It's not going to hurt you, especially if they're all with the same people like Bixie. Because when you get your RTPM and you get your RCDD and you get your Bixie technician and you get the all the other certifications, when you get your continuing education credits, a lot of those go across all the platforms. So it's not like you have to go to get CECs from this one certification company, but they don't recognize the ones that the other ones do. So there's an advantage there for you doing that. So yeah, it could definitely help you a lot. I would definitely jump off that thing and get more certifications. Except from towards the end of my career, and I'm just kind of, do I really need that? So this question, it actually came in via email. And it was from Mike in Oklahoma. Oh, we forgot the acronym challenge. Oh, heaven forbid. How did I forget that? How did you guys let me forget the acronym challenge? The acronym challenge, let me turn off that comment in the same thing as well. Here's a comment. So, what is VSS? What is VSS? Remember, we help control the acronym population. Spay or neuter your acronyms. We have enough of them. We don't need more. Does anybody know what VSS is? Right? VSS. I'll give you a couple more seconds before you answer that. I'll give you a hint. It has something to do with video. Video. It stands for Video Surveillance System. Video Surveillance System. So there you go. That's what that stands for. Wait a minute. We taught somebody a new acronym today? Nice. That is why I do the acronym challenges. You hear something funny? A lot of people look at me as the acronym expert because I do the acronym challenges and stuff. Was it last Thursday night's live stream? Or was it the episode before that? I'm talking about Mutellas and I just pulled a brain fart. I couldn't remember what that acronym meant. I know multi-user telecommunications outlet assembly. Most times I can quote it off the head, no problem whatsoever. But for some reason, I pulled a brain fart and I just couldn't. Totally messed that up. So it just goes to show it happens to anybody. Happens to anybody. So getting to our questions, the first one comes from Mike, and it was sent to me. Mike's in Oklahoma, and he sent this to me via email. He says, Chuck, what is a DS3? A DS3. So DS3 is just a way, it's a level of multiplexing, right? So the DS levels come in DS0, DS1, DS1C, DS2, and DS3. So it's just a way of multiplexing. Now, I don't have these memorized, so I had to kind of write these down. So I'm doing these right from my notes because it's been a while since I've messed with DS level stuff, right? So DS1 transmits at 1.544 megabits per second. And it consists of 24 channels, 24 analog voice channels at 31 hertz. So it's a way you can think of it as like a 25 pair cable, right? You got lots of voice lines on it, but instead it's being done over twisted pair through multiplexing. Generally, what you're going to find with DS1 is they're going to take the transmit pairs and put it in one binding group and the receive pairs in a different binding group. That way they don't interfere with each other. But what if that's not enough? Then there's DS2. Right? DS2 is basically 4 DS1 channels. 4 DS1 channels. So you have 96 voice channels. 96 voice channels. And it transmits at 6.314 megabits per second, if I remember right. And when you're using DS2, you may be required to use low capacitance cable. And that's going to help with your attenuation. It's going to help with your crosstalk issues. That's why a lot of people, when you'll hear that, we're doing a T1 extension. Does that need a special T1 cable? That's what they're talking about. Is that low capacitance cabling. DS3 can have up to 28 DS1s or 7 DS2s, right? And I didn't write down how many channels that was. I just don't know off the top of my head. That transmits at 44.736 megabits per second. So predominantly the DS3s are used for fiber optic transmission. They're used for digital radio and stuff like that. Steve could talk to us about digital radio because Steve's a ham radio operator. I'm working on mine. Hopefully I'll have mine before the end of the year. So that's what DS1, DS2, and DS3 is, right? So the next question, this comes from Tom in New Jersey. And if you have some tips, put it in the chat box for Tom, right? So I kind of abbreviated his question, but his question is, Chuck, I'm 18 years old. I just graduated from high school this summer. I took the summer off, but now I'm looking to really start my career my life career. Luckily fell into a job in the cabling industry. What career advice would you give somebody brand spanking new? So the tips I'm going to give you are probably not the ones that most people would give. So If you have a tip, put it in the chat box and I'll highlight it when I get done with my tips. So my first tip is show up early. Show up early. When I got my first job in communications, actually technically it was my second job. It was in Northern Virginia. I lived in College Park, Maryland. So I'd ride my motorcycle all the way over there. I showed up early every day. If they said to be there at 7:30, I was there at 7. And I did that for a couple of reasons. One, I was driving 35 miles through the rush hour of Washington, D.C. traffic, which means that you could literally, your commute could be 30 minutes one day and 90 minutes the next day. And I just didn't want to take that chance. So I got there early. I still continue that to this day. I would rather be 45 minutes early than 1 minute late. So showing up early, that sends a message. That says to your employer, that says to a potential client, that says to somebody you're meeting with, your time is valuable to me. I'm not going to be disrespectful and be late. Your time is valuable. That's the message that sends, right? The second thing I'm going to say is, because you're going to be brand spanking new in this industry, you're going to get a lot of feedback and a lot of criticism. A lot of feedback and a lot of criticism. And I gotta admit, I'm just like this. I wasn't really good at taking feedback when I was a young kid. I just thought people, they're giving me feedback and I just would take it wrong. I was like, oh my God, they're attacking me. And then I'd be defensive and then it just didn't work. I wasn't later until my mid-20s that I matured. Well, technically I'm still not mature if you ask my wife, but anyways, learn how to take feedback. When somebody gives you feedback, it might hurt, it might sting, but think about that. Okay, well, what can I do to be better? I'll give you one which I just got recently. My boss said to me, 6 months ago, I talk too fast. Now, some areas of the country, I do talk too fast. I teach all over the United States. If I'm teaching up in New York, they don't think I'm talking fast. If I teach in Birmingham, Alabama, I do talk too fast. So I learned to kind of like slow down, take pauses, sometimes repeat things. I'm still practicing. It's funny. I hate watching my own videos because it just makes me cringe. It just does. It just does. So yeah, learn to take feedback. And then another one I want to say is do what you say you're going to do. If your boss says, hey, I need you to go terminate those jacks, go terminate them. Say, I'm going to do it. Take care of it. I'll get them all terminated before I leave today. And if you misjudge it and it's 5 o'clock and you got 10 more, finish them. You told them. Your word means a lot to people. Your word means a lot to people. Be constant. Be consistent. That's a hard one, especially for young people. And I'm saying young people like, I'm talking about in all span of human beings. Young people always have problems with being consistent. Here's another one that a lot of people won't think about. Dress for the job. You heard me right. Dress for the job. If you're working as a cable puller, don't show up in jeans with holes in them and a shirt that's got coffee stains down the front of them and you look like you haven't shaved in 4 weeks. You're a professional. Dress the part. And my dad always used to say, don't dress for the job you have. Dress for the job you want. So Todd, you want to be a project manager. Are you dressing that part now? There you go. There you go. Another one, take responsibilities. Take responsibility. And I still do this to this day. I remember when I first got hired on by the company I work for now as a trainer, and I made a mistake, and it caused an issue. We ended up having to cancel a class, whatever, or I had to cancel my travel arrangements, whatever. And I told my boss, it's my fault. It's absolutely my fault. I took responsibility for it, and I paid for the difference in the airfare because I didn't have to. I could have taken it in, but it's all about being, integrity is not how you act when people are watching. Integrity is how you act when people aren't watching. It's a lot harder. It's a lot harder. That's why I was talking about codes and standards. It's easy to not follow the codes when nobody's looking over your shoulder to make sure you put those jokes in every 4 to 5 feet apart, isn't it? Integrity. And here's a good one. Here's a great one. I love this one, right? Set goals. Set a 1-year goal, set a 5-year goal, set a 10-year goal. If you sit back and you dream, look at Todd. Todd's a perfect example. Todd, I'm so glad you hopped on tonight. I'm so glad you hopped on tonight. If Todd was just saying, oh, one day I want to be an RTPM, it's a dream. It's a dream. It's not a goal until you write it down. It's not a goal until you commit to it. If it's written down, that's why when I did the TDMM study group, that's exactly what I did. I created that study group because I knew that if I didn't create that study group, that I might not read the TDMM. I was like, yeah, I got it. I was meant to read it. I'll meet it. But it forced me. I had to make a goal. I had to be done with that thing in 6 months. Create a goal. Work towards that goal. And then every once in a while, just kind of sit back and reflect. How much progress have you made? Don't always be beating yourself up. Oh man, I wanted to have my RTPM within a year, and here it is, a year and a half, 2 years, I'm still not there. Life is fluid. It's fluid. You can't always, you set goals, but you can't always make a goal. The key is, are you closer to that goal today than you were when you set that goal? That's the key. That's the key. Set goals. Set goals. Another one, find a mentor. You're lucky because you're just starting off your career. And right now I'm envious of you because I'm at the end of my career and there's so much new, exciting stuff coming out in this industry. Find somebody that you trust and ask them, will you be my mentor? If they say no, then find somebody else. Find somebody else, right? And here's one that most people don't think. Work harder than everybody else around you. Yep. Work harder than everybody else around you. I remember one time I was talking to my neighbor. My neighbor was a government employee. He worked at I can't remember the name of the facility. It's right there off of 295, right down the edge of Maryland by Woodrow Wilson Bridge at that sewage plant. I can't think of the name of it. He was a painter there, and his job was literally just to go around year round and paint the sewer pipes and the things. And he told me one day that they told him to slow down because they were making everybody else look bad. Well, you should speed up. Set the bar. Make people work to your level. Don't go down to their level. Don't go down to their level. Another one, embrace failure. You're going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. Embrace failure. Look at failure as an opportunity to learn. Don't just beat yourself up. Oh man, I made that mistake. I'll give you an example. I did a project one time for a call center. Chuck did not, he read the RFP. I read the scope of work, but it didn't really stick. And when we terminated the jacks at this call center, the scope of work said it had to be done T568B. We terminated T568A, and I didn't catch that. And this wasn't a small job. This was a couple of thousand connectors. And luckily, the customer was nice enough to say, Chuck, okay, nah, you don't have to go back and redo these, but, in the future, be more careful. So now I institute a process anytime that I'm doing jobs or project managing jobs. I'm reading that scope of work several times over and making checklists to make sure that I follow it. Embrace failure. Be a team player. Be a team player. Don't be the lone wolf. You're part of a team. Yeah, have fun. I mentioned this in my brother and I episode last week. You know how crew gets along really well together? When they pick on each other. And if you watch the episode, you'll see my brother and I picking on each other in that episode because we get along really well. And it's like that with most crews. And the best piece of advice that I could give you, be a lifelong learner. A lifelong learner. I've been in this industry for 40 years. I'm still learning stuff. If you come with the attitude, oh, I know everything, you can't teach me nothing, I already know everything, you're going to become stagnant, stale, and you're not going to progress. You're not going to progress. Our industry changes way too fast. Way too fast. There's always something new coming out. That's why I love this industry, right? Be a constant learner. Strive to learn one new thing every day, right? One new thing every day. All right, let's see. Does anybody else have any suggestions for him? Oh, there you go. Thank you, Jonathan. I did 28 DS1s per DS3. Thank you so much for that. Here's another suggestion for that individual. Write things down, take pictures of jobs. Oh my God, that's a great idea. I used to have a portfolio that I would take pictures of my jobs and I'd print them off and I put them in a spiral 3-ring bound. And I used that for, when I go to apply for new jobs. Plus it was a matter of pride. And I remember that during my divorce, my ex-wife knew what that meant to me and she threw it away. I wish I still had it. I really do. Bill, welcome back, buddy. Glad to have you back. Let me see. What is Steve's suggestion for this new guy? He says, tip, remember you're always learning no matter how much you've already learned or how much experience you have. Excellent. Yeah, I was oh, my mind just went blank. Steve, my mind just did a mind fart, right? Oh, no, it was. So somebody asked me an estimating question, and I was actually several estimating questions, and I was answering it for them, and they were like, Chuck, how do you know so much? I said, 40 years of making mistakes, right? Because that's how you learn. You learn from your mistakes. Here's a good suggestion from a LinkedIn user. Be honest, don't lie, and be trustworthy. I kind of covered them, but yeah, absolutely. You will rise up through through that, right? Oh, Blue Plains. Thank you. I thought it was Blue Plains, but I was like, that doesn't sound right to me. But yeah, I used to work at Blue Plains. There you go. So, any other questions? We are at that 30-minute mark. Anybody have any other questions before we sign off? Again, remember, there will be no more live streams for this year. I will pick back up in January. The podcast will still keep coming out. The TikTok videos will still keep coming out. The Instagram stuff, everything else is still running. It's just the live streams. Oh, that's a good one right there, Bill. Bill, you are the man. 10,000 points to you, buddy. I bow. Technology evolves, so should you. Oh, I'm going to steal that. Do I have your permission to use that? I'm going to steal that and start using that in my podcast. I like that. Well, we're at our 30-minute mark, and I'm glad that everybody made it here today. And again, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And I'm hopeful that you have a blessed Thanksgiving and enjoy time with your family and have a good time. And so until next time, everybody, remember, knowledge is power. Take care.